Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to my review of Daredevil Season 3. The Netflix MCU herd may have thinned recently, but the leader of the pack is still out in front doing its thing, and I couldn't be happier about that because this was really something. For the record, I went into this season of the mentality that Daredevil Season 1 was still the benchmark of all the Marvel and Netflix shows. In my opinion, none of the other shows have topped it to date. By comparison, Daredevil Season 2 was still excellent but had a few issues. But now we come to Season 3, and I think we might have a new champion. This was good. This was really f***ing good. In my opinion, the main thing that brought Season 2 down, in addition to trying to beat Daredevil Season 2 and The Punisher Season 1 at the same time, was that it was missing the dynamic of Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, that relentless game of cat and mouse between these two arch-rivals that made Season 1 so great. Well, it's back. Holy shit, is it back. If Season 1 was the origin of both these characters, then Season 3 truly is about Daredevil versus the Kingpin, and building the epic rivalry between these guys up to a huge climactic showdown. It's also where the Kingpin, as if he hadn't already, absolutely cements his spot as the best villain in the MCU. Yeah, you heard me. Kilgrave? Pussy. Killmonger? Lightweight. None of them hold a candle to the Kingpin. He's the best antagonist, he's the best character, and to top it off, he's also the best foil for the hero who opposes him. This season, we're really seeing Daredevil at his lowest point ever after nearly dying at the end of the Defenders. And then suddenly, here comes the Kingpin with blood in his mouth and using every resource at his disposal to absolutely ruin him. And he's so good at it, so masterful at thinking 10 steps ahead of everyone else, that for the entire season until about halfway through the finale episode, I had no idea how they were gonna possibly beat this guy, or if they even could beat him. And yet, at the same time, the writers still find ways to make Fisk a human being, to give him vulnerabilities and little specks of humanity, not enough that you root for him, but enough that you see where he's coming from, and Vincent D'Onofrio absolutely kills it. And they give the same treatment to the other major villain of the season, but I hesitate to call him Bullseye right now because he's not really that character yet. This season is the story of how Bullseye becomes Bullseye, and damn is it fascinating to watch. Ben Poindexter is a guy who very much comes across as a ticking time bomb from the moment we meet him, as a guy who's just one little push away from going completely off the deep end and laughing while he does it. And yet, much like Fisk, he oscillates between being absolutely terrifying and weirdly sympathetic at times. In fact, there's a Bottle episode that explores his backstory, which is probably one of the best character studies I've seen on a TV show in some time. And there are moments when you genuinely feel bad for him. I didn't want to feel bad for Bullseye because I know what's in store for him, but damn it, they pulled it off. Those bastards. Similarly, the rest of the cast gets some of the best material to work with that they've had so far. Foggy gets some great moments, but Karen is the real standout. They do a Karen Spotlight episode where we finally get her backstory, and yeah, it's every bit as devastating as you think. They really delivered on that after keeping it in their pocket for so long, and Deborah Ann Wall really knocks it out of the park. But if we're talking about acting, Charlie f***ing Cox, you guys. If he doesn't win a damn Emmy for his work this season, then there's something wrong with all of us. There's an action sequence in episode 4 that might have been one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in a TV show. It's up there with the hallway fight in Season 1, the stairwell fight in Season 2, but with one big difference. It's not a stuntman doing it this time. It's Charlie Cox. Well, it's mostly him. I think they might have swapped in a stunt guy for one section of it, but aside from that, it's actually Charlie Cox doing it. And it's another one of those all-in-one take deals. I'm positive it wasn't all-in-one take, but they're working their asses off to make it look like it is. And front and center through the whole thing, there's Charlie Cox, performing the stunts, doing all the fight choreography, acting his damn ass off. Dude is a motherfucking stud. I was blown away. I could not rave about that scene enough if I tried. And that leads me to one of the very few nitpicks I have with this season. That sequence in episode 4 is unbelievable. But the rest of the time, I found the action to be somewhat less impressive than we've come to expect from this show. And I think that may have been by design, because part of the story is that Matt is just utterly physically destroyed after having a building fall on him in the Defenders, and he isn't sure if he can ever be the same fighter he was before. In fact, he spends most of the season trying to get back to what he was, and even once the season was over, I still wasn't sure if he'd accomplished it. And I get the story, I understand it, but still, it's a weird adjustment to make because Season 1 and 2 practically rewrote the rulebook with action scenes, and suddenly they're toning it down because the hero is so banged up. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is something I had to get used to. In that same vein, I don't know that there was as much action as usual this season because it feels like more of a drama than an action show this time around. Matt and a lot of the other characters are confronting a lot of dark personal demons, and in most cases, you don't know if they're going to fight those demons or surrender to them. And with a cast as good as this, it's pretty riveting stuff. But again, it is an adjustment. So don't go in expecting a balls-to-the-wall action extravaganza and then be disappointed. There's still plenty of action, but the drama takes center stage this time. And if I had one other nitpick, and I'm really reaching for this stuff now, it's that we don't really get Daredevil versus Bullseye here, so much as the Devil of Hell's Kitchen versus Ben Poindexter. It'll make sense when you see it. Like I said, this season is essentially Bullseye's origin story, so the character isn't quite fully formed yet when they go head-to-head. We'll probably get that later on, but I did feel a little bummed out that we're gonna have to wait for this. Then again, knowing what Bullseye does in the comics and dreading that it could happen in the show at some point, maybe dragging this out for a while isn't such a bad thing. Overall though, Daredevil Season 3 is a tour de force. This show has raised the bar in terms of tension and dramatic moments, and as far as action is concerned, I don't think anything is going to top that sequence in Episode 4 for a while. And if and when that does happen, make no mistake, it'll happen on this show. Because constantly trying to raise the bar it's set for itself just seems to be what Daredevil does. Bravo to the cast and crew. Season 3 was fantastic. And as long as it stays safe from the axe, which by all rights it should, but with the way Netflix has behaved in the last week, it's anyone's guess, I can't wait for Season 4. But what did you guys think of Daredevil Season 3? Let me know down below. And while you're at it, please don't forget to share the video around, smash that thumbs up, and rock the bell icon to hopefully get notified when new videos get uploaded. But since the YouTube algorithm from hell just doesn't seem to want to notify subscribers about new videos sometimes for reasons that are still a mystery to me, the best way to always be notified when I upload something is to follow me on Twitter using the link in the description box. YouTube is fighting us every step of the way, you guys, so if we want to keep growing, we've got to do it ourselves. So please, help a brother out. And that's all for now, but there's so much more to come. I talk movies, TV, comics, trailers, and more, so if you like what you see here, stay tuned, follow me on Twitter, and I'll be back real soon. Until then, over. Out.